make sure that you guys didn't miss anything. Went pretty well. Came down below 500 microns, and I did a thing. I decided that I wanted to do another pressure test and just be sure that I covered the I took the system up to 253 psi. That was this high section here. So I came back down, gave it an isolation test, and then I went to grab some food just a few minutes ago and let it come down here. I just did an isolation test and show you this cool feature with the app. These little blips here are actually where it was having trouble get the oil to agitate and let loose the moisture. And reset zoom here and give it a few minutes so that it's not handheld and ugly. The joys of live video. So at this point, there's a very good potential for moisture in the system, hence the high or quick. I'm going to make a recommendation to have the dryer replaced after a while here again, and run another vacuum on it so that we can get some moisture out of the system. But a new job with another company. Won't get into the details of it at this moment, but that's what's going on. So I will not be able to come back and do any further work with this unit, and we're going to have to be satisfied with about 500 microns. The next part of this is going to be something that's probably a little controversial, but it is how I add refrigerant and what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, I'm going to go grab my jug of refrigerant. Alright, so when I can't have refrigerant on it already, I will purge my hose, take one of the side taps on the core tools, and tie it in and let it pull back down again. The small amount of air that is between the valve and the nut there. About the best I can do to try to make sure that we don't have too much trouble. So we jumped up when it much time here. I'm going to go ahead and isolate the core tools and add in the factory. R410A refrigerant. It's about 11.3 to 11 1/3 of a pound. So what? 11 pounds, 4 ounces. We're down to about 390 microns right now. When I get to this point, I valve off the opposite core tool that I started when I pulled the vacuum. Like I said, I close the core tool that's closest to the vacuum when I start the vacuum, but now I close the opposite core tool to give it a good bit of a suck down. And now we're going to close the one close to the core tool and go 11 pounds, 4 ounces. And we're done with that noise bucket. I may not be able to get the full charge in on the evacuated system, but should be able to get enough that we can start the unit and finish off the rest of the charge. Once I see high pressure on the micron gauge, I will put the Schrader core back in that fitting. Before I remove the micron gauge. I'm going to let that take a little bit more refrigerant first. And I'm adding on the liquid side for these service ports. Since I'm adding liquid, I don't want to tie in and add on the suction side. We're at almost 6 pounds now, so not doing terrible. That should be enough to start the system up with. 8.5 pounds. And I forgot to save the evacuation report, but whatever. Nine and a half pounds. £10, 4 ounces. £11. Hey, we're going to get all of it in there. 11.4. We're going to go about 11 and a half to accommodate the loss of what we're going to when we take the hose off. I guess I should go ahead and get my pipe straps in there before I put that panel on. I'm just going to get suction line and liquid line. And we'll keep my fingers crossed for that's nice. Fantastic. Evidently the side tap Schrader has taken a beating during that evacuation. Or when I was adding refrigerant, whatever. All right. Low side pressure. High side pressure. Superheat. Subcool. Outdoor ambient. Need to put the condenser fan back on. air probes. Go grab those in the crawl space, and then we'll go throw on the thermostat. Here goes nothing. Alright, so we're going to give it some time to balance out. Right now we got a 77 return. Head pressure, or suction pressure's a little high at the moment. We got no subcooling and low superheat. I don't recall off the top of my head how the system performed previously before we had leaks, but I'm going to let that balance out for a little while. While we're at it, we'll check comments, see what you guys had to say so far. You're right, Kenneth McDevitt. I don't really care what time it is. Would do it right. Earl Bronaugh. I do not have an I manifold anymore, but I do have the I connect, and I use that on pretty much everything. Every once in a while I will use the Sporlan for a pressure test. Brent Ridley, I can't go home, buddy. Unit's not done. Subcoolant's coming up. Superheat was a little higher a minute ago, but we're going to let it balance out for a while. I'm going to go ahead and pick up some of my evacuation tools. Be back shortly. I did do an oil change in the middle of the evacuation also. It's not terrible, but got a little color to it. I didn't realize it until just a minute ago. So right now we're running 9 degrees of subcooling, 13 degrees of superheat. My manifold is system performance. Gives you your rated. Based on that information, apparently we're running a little bit lower air friction, and it has been that way for quite some time, not to mention Wi-Fi, so I'm not too bad. Got a 78 return, 60 degree supply, 10 degrees of superheat. Profile. It's not an air conditioner, it's a heat pump. I'm going to call it a high sensible capacity. See what that does. Heat. And if we go back, I didn't realize that it crashed before. Either way, thanks for watching. $10 off your purchase of $10 or more at TrueTechTools.com. You can use the coupon code RARDON, R-A-R-D-O-N, and get 7% off of your total purchase. RARVID is actually a one-time use, and I'm hoping that with this job change that's coming up that I'll have some time to do some other videos that I've had sitting on the back burner for some time. So anyway, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.